Hello everybody, my name is Violet and welcome back to our beginner tips series, episode number 2. If you haven't checked out the first video, I highly recommend it. We talked about some great tips helping you stay alive on the battlefield. It will be linked below, or there will be a little pop-up thing at the end of the video that, like a little preview fucking thing, I don't know what it's called. Anyway, for episode number 2, we are focusing on defending and blending. Here we go. Tip number 1. Stop sitting on the objective defending. Move away from the objective, within a reasonable distance. You see this mistake all the time from new and experienced players sitting in one concentrated area on the point with no scouting, no perimeter, no security outside of the objective of any kind. Assume you're an attacking force. You have a large marker on your map showing exactly where you need to be going. Would it be easier to attack having a mostly free run up to the objective? Or would it be easier if you're pushing against wave after wave of enemy forces coming out of the objective? You switch the direction of your push, but because enemies continually are pushing out in different directions, your new attack position is easily compromised and you're back to pushing into wave after wave of enemy combatants. I think we can see which situation, just from that quick example, is going to be easier and which is going to be more difficult. Pushing out from objectives in a perimeter with your and other squads creates early warning systems to provide more team information, burn rallies, and find enemy hubs and radios quickly. Tip number 2. Build some defenses. If you've got fire team lead, Bravo or Charlie, ask your squad leader where you should be setting up and placing some defenses. As a fire team lead, you are able to build and place just about anything on the map except for your emplacements like machine guns, mortars, stuff like that, and obviously your hab that will help you defend the point. Barbed wire in particular is an extremely effective and heavily underutilized defensive tool, in my opinion, even by experienced squad players. Depending on the point you're at and how it's used, you can funnel enemy movements into specific areas, making it easier to defend their pushes. Double up or even triple up layers of barbed wire on key points, and it can severely slow down an enemy push. Now keep in mind, this can also hinder your team's ability to push off the point if you're placing it forward of your hub in the direction of the next point. So make sure to place those defenses in areas that your team is not going to be pushing out of, but rather your flanks and rears. Tip number 3. Check in consistently with your radio and hab status. You'd be surprised at how quickly a hab can get proxied or a radio can get dug down in the middle of a defense. All it takes is 1 or 2 people pushing through or around your defensive line to start bleeding your radio or proxying your hab. A minimum call out of these events to your squad, if able, push back to try and do your best to deal with it. In addition to the defense of your radio and hab, do not dig your radio into a room with a Haskell wall. This gives the sneaky enemy player the ability to dig that wall down, dig themselves back up inside and disable the radio, possibly even put it on bleed, before your team even has the opportunity to respond to it. And by then, it's already too late, especially if it's a combat engineer that gets in there. They can keep that wall up against 2 or maybe even 3 standard infantrymen. On top of that, a well-placed barbed wire can further slow a save down, even if that wall does come down. Remember guys, a Haskell radio is a bled radio. Tip number 4. Use rallies on defense as a backup or a warning system. A rally can be a really good early warning indicator of where enemies are coming from. Cover your flank or even the radio with one and you pretty much get a free scout. Rally goes down to the east, well, there's enemies pushing from your east. And where there's one, there's more. There's a rally sitting on your radio and it goes down, get back there and defend that radio. Putting it on your radio also hides the rally's noise signature. Within that 20-meter mark is when that rally burns. The radio's audio signature is 30 meters. So Once that rally burns, you can pretty much guarantee that enemies have already started triangulating where your radio is, and it is only a matter of time before they start digging that down. Once that rally burns, get back there. The game is on to start defending that radio as best you can until you can either move it or, the game is over. Tip number 5. Bit of an unconventional one, but we always do this for the last couple. Place the hab behind the radio when using off-point radios. What most people will do is place a radio and then get the hab right on the edge of that circle, leaving the radio as far from the objective as possible. This is great for helping preventing your radio from getting discovered, but once it is, it makes it very difficult to defend it. As people spawn in, they immediately run off of that radio circle, meaning it's less likely people will begin to notice that radio getting dug down. It also increases the distance that players will have to run away from the active objective they're attacking to try and defend that radio. It allows the enemy force to further advance towards your hab and gain control of it even if you do get that radio back up. And it allows the enemies to just continually put more and more pressure on that hab. By putting the hab behind the radio, it forces friendlies to push past it, moving towards the objective, inadvertently defending it. This doesn't work in every instance or for every point, depending on terrain and other factors, but it is still an important tactic that honestly just isn't utilized enough. Tip number 6. Bushwhacking on defense is a great and effective strategy to conceal yourself as a scout when you're on the perimeter of the objective or just where you're running security at. I've got my friend Dell here to help me demonstrate something a lot of players get wrong with sitting in bushes.
So what I need you to do is I need you to yes, hello Dell. So there's a few different bush variations here. I just need you to go into them. You're gonna stand for a couple seconds, and then you're gonna crouch for a couple seconds, and then you'll go completely prone for a couple seconds, just so we can see the difference in concealability and like how visually easy it is to see. So here we got Dell in the bush. He's standing up. You can see his gun here, but from this angle you can't really see too much of his body. He could be walking by and pass by that pretty quick. So Dell, why don't you give us a little crouch here? Okay, so Dell's looking across the river. We can see he's crouched down and his concealability has gone down or has gone up pretty drastically. But Dell, why don't you give us a full prone? So now that he's full prone, his gun is sticking out much further than it was before, and you can actually see the back of his feet sticking out from the bush. That's going to be a lot more noticeable than even just standing straight up in the bush, but obviously as we can see, the just crouching is going to be your best option. So Del, why don't you go over to this next bush, over groups of bushes over here to your right, and we'll do the same thing. So standing up, you can kind of see his feet peeking out, his gun are right there. And if you give us a crouch, his feet are going to become a little bit more visible, but that gun is going to pretty much completely disappear. I mean, if you're running by quickly, those feet might just look like some branches. If you give us a full prone Del, now you're going to be basically able to see his entire body. You'll be able to see the gun peeking out his head. And even though the camo does contrast pretty well with the sand and the foliage, it's just the visibility, or the concealment factor is almost completely gone.
And that will be all for today's class. Let's quickly go over what we learned. Number 1, move out of objective and create a perimeter. Number 2, make sure to build your defenses. Don't just sit around waiting for enemies, you gotta prepare for them. Number 3, keep an eye on your radio and hab. Number 4, use rallies as a warning system and backup spawn. Number 5, push into your radio instead of away from it. And number 6, crouch in bushes instead of laying down to remain concealed. I hope you all enjoyed the tips today. They were brought to you by the great members of our community over at DMH. A special thanks to You Sneaky, Galahad, Relish, and Anxiety Noodle. Next video we'll be going over some tips for attacking points and enemy radios. If you have any tips for that, you can find me in our Discord link below. Just shoot me a PM. Thank you for staying to the end of the video. Consider giving us a subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you in the next one. This has been Violet with Dead Man's Hand. Stay strumming.